Now, a few weeks ago, I made a Charlotte Royale cake for the very first time, and I made a Bavarian cream. Now, I managed to mess it up a little tiny bit, so I figured I would make an entire video dedicated just to the Bavarian cream because it's a really delicious filling that you can use for cakes or pastries or just eat as a dessert with like a fruit compote on top. So without further ado, let's really quickly make a Bavarian cream, and I'll show you how easy it can be if you don't mess it up. Now, the nice thing is that a Bavarian cream is essentially just a custard or a pudding mixed with whipped cream. So it's really fluffy, but also stabilized because there's gelatin in it, and you get this really nice vanilla flavor from the vanilla bean or from the vanilla extract or whichever you use. Now, for the custard or for the pudding, we're only going to use 5 ingredients. You're going to need 500 milliliters of milk, 4 egg yolks. Don't forget to save the egg whites for a different recipe. Otis, not on the counter. "100 grams of sugar, 10 grams of gelatin, and some vanilla bean paste or just 1 vanilla bean. I don't have vanilla beans, but I do have this vanilla bean paste, which does the trick and tastes and smells just as good. So I like using this. Now, first things first, we're going to start by letting our gelatin dissolve in a good splash of water. And just make sure that you're using water that isn't too hot, so ideally room temperature or just lukewarm, because else you can kill your gelatin, which is not what you want, because else you won't have a nice thick cream. We can set our gelatin aside for now, and in the meantime, let's start heating up our milk in a pot on the stove. And I'm just letting my milk heat up on like medium heat. We don't necessarily want it to come up to a boil. If yours does end up boiling, that's okay. Just let it cool off a little bit before moving on to the next step. And in the meantime, we can also add our sugar and our vanilla bean paste to our eggs. And I'm just eyeballing this one about like that. And the nice thing with vanilla bean paste is that you don't have to mess around with an actual vanilla bean, but you're still getting like all the good stuff from the vanilla bean essentially. So you still have those nice little tiny little black specks from the vanilla bean, but you don't have the mess. And honestly, I feel like price-wise, this one's maybe more affordable than actual vanilla beans. So if you can find vanilla bean paste, I recommend getting some because it's very handy, and it also just tastes so much better than vanilla extract. So invest. And we're just gonna whisk together our egg, sugar, vanilla mixture until it's nice and light in color and just really nicely incorporated. And once it's nice and fluffy like this, we can stop whisking. Our milk is nice and hot. It's steaming but not boiling. Now at this point, we need to essentially temper our eggs. So that basically just means we're going to slowly add our warm milk to our egg yolks, which is also why we don't want our milk to be too hot, because else we're essentially going to scramble our egg yolks, which would be really disgusting in a dessert. So let's not do that. So we're just going to slowly add our milk to our egg mixture, and then we can add everything back into our pot. And this is obviously a lot easier to do in a bigger bowl. I just didn't. you should be left with this really lovely, almost yellowish mixture from the egg yolks. Now it already smells really, really good from the vanilla bean paste. Again, invest in some good vanilla bean paste or just buy vanilla beans if you can afford them. If not, vanilla extract does work. It's just not the same. Can you afford them? I don't think we can afford vanilla beans, Julian. No, I'm talking about the vanilla bean paste. Well, I bought it in Germany where it was cheap. Also, my package just got delivered. I saw the delivery man. Now comes the part that can be a little bit intimidating and scary since it's really easy to scramble your eggs if your stovetop is too hot. So we're going to add this back to the stove on like medium heat, and we're basically just going to be constantly whisking until we see that our custard has thickened up a little bit. This is essentially the same thing that we did when we were making ice cream as well. So the consistency that you're going for is still going to be a little bit on the runny side, but a good way to tell that it's thickened up is if you take the back of a wooden spoon and if you blow on it, it creates kind of like a rose pattern. That's kind of like a good tell that your mixture has thickened up, but you're not curdling it. And if you're really afraid of doing this step, you can also just add your mixture into a bowl that fits over your pot. So you're essentially creating a water bath or a double boiler. And that can also minimize the amount of risk. You're killing me here. You're killing me here. Okay, let's get this heated up and then I will show you what I mean with the rose pattern on the spoon once we get to that spot. Now this is what it's like in the beginning. There is no sort of rose pattern at all, and it's super liquid. It doesn't even really stay on the spoon, except for all the air bubbles on top. It's still a little bit thin, but you can already see like a little tiny bit of that rose pattern. A little bit long. As you can see, it's coating the spoon a lot better already. It's definitely a little bit thicker in consistency, but it's not as thick as like a pudding or a proper custard, which is perfect. Now before this heats up anymore, let's take it off the heat. Our egg mixture has definitely thickened up a little bit, which is perfect. So I'm gonna transfer this because else, if we leave it in the pot, it can keep heating up since the pot stores the heat and it can curdle as well. And this is also just going to help cool down our mixture a little bit faster. Now we just need to wait for this to cool off for about 10 minutes or so, and then we can also whisk in our gelatin. And as you can probably tell by now, temperature plays a pretty important role in this recipe since you don't want anything to be too hot because you'll either curdle your egg yolks or you're going to kill off your gelatin and so on and so on. So it is important to be a little bit more patient when you're making this and letting your mixtures always cool down and or not heating them up too much because else you're not going to create a really nice Bavarian cream, which is obviously the goal. So while our gelatin egg mixture cools off a little bit longer, we can go ahead and whip up our cream. And I'm just going to whip up 400 milliliters of heavy cream, and we're not going to add any more sugar to this since we already have quite a bit of sugar in our custard anyways. So we're just going to leave it at this very plain whipped cream. Now this next part is where I messed up the last time I made the Bavarian cream. Essentially what I did was I lost track of time and I let my gelatin cream mixture here set completely, which basically created a pudding or a custard. The problem was that since it had already set it was really difficult to mix it in with my whipped cream and create like a really nice cohesive filling. And it also created a really grainy consistency since we had a pudding that was completely set and then a really fluffy whipped cream. And the problem with that is also that the gelatin is now not mixing with the whipped cream, so you're not creating one filling that is completely binded by the gelatin, which is not ideal. It's obviously not what you want. So the key here is, once again, temperature. You want your gelatin mixture here to still be warm, and you're basically just going to carefully fold in your cold whipped cream. Now that's also going to help bring down the temperature of your filling. So you also want to work a little bit quickly and get this filling into your molds ASAP before the gelatin has time to set. So again, temperature, as you can tell, is very important. So just carefully but quickly mix in your whipped cream to your mixture and then pretty much immediately get it into your molds. And I always just like folding in a little bit at a time. That way I'm not losing too much airiness. Now sadly, I only have 6 of these really cute dessert glasses, so I'm just going to pour as much as I can into these, leaving a little bit at the top so I can add like a berry compote as well. And any leftover that I have, I'm just going to add into like a big serving bowl and serve it like that. And there you have it. That's pretty much all you have to do for the Bavarian cream. Now you do want to let this sit for at least 4 hours to let the gelatin completely set before serving and devouring. So I'm just gonna let this chill at room temperature for a little bit and then just transfer it into the fridge to completely set. Now for my little dessert glasses, I'm also going to make a really quick berry compote to put on top as well, just so it's a little bit more of a fruity dessert as well. So let's quickly make that together. Now for my berry filling that I'm going to put on top of my little dessert glasses, I'm going to use 1 glaze package. Again, feel free to substitute this for cornstarch. Then I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of sugar, 250 milliliters of water, and 200 grams of frozen and thawed berries. Now this is just a berry mix, so this has cherries, blackberries, and blueberries. Again, feel free to use whatever berries you have. They can be fresh or frozen. That doesn't really matter. If you are using frozen berries, I recommend that you let these thaw. Otherwise, if we add our warm mixture, it's essentially going to cool off too quickly and we don't have enough time to evenly distribute them onto our dessert glasses. So again, temperature is a little bit important. So let these thaw out a little bit, or at least microwave them. Plus that way you're also getting out a bit of that cherry juice as well, and from all the other berries, the juices as well. And that's going to add a little bit of extra flavor. And I see a cherry seed in here. I mean a cherry pit. Okay. Gonna take that one out. I just hope the rest of them don't have pits. It looks okay. I guess we'll find out later. For now, I'm basically just going to follow the instructions on my glaze. So I'm just going to add my glaze and my sugar to my water and then just bring that up to a boil until it's thickened up. And I'm just going to put this back in my pot just because I want my berries to cook down a little bit as well. So I'm just going to let this heat up on the stove just to further cook down my berries a little bit. I'm also just going to transfer this out of the pot just to let it cool off a little bit faster. Now, I like it when my berries aren't completely cooked down. If you do want them to be completely integrated into your glaze, you can also just puree this. That way you have like a really nice, smooth berry compote or berry filling essentially. Again, I like it a little bit chunky so you can see the berries still. Some of them have like cooked down into our sauce a little bit, especially the blackberries. I love doing that. But the cherries, there's still some like nice big pieces of those and a few blueberries in here. So I'm just gonna let this cool off a little bit before layering it on top of our Bavarian cream. Now, as you can see, my Bavarian cream did not completely set yet before I added my filling on top. So now they've kind of like mished together a little bit. So I just put the rest of my Bavarian cream back into the fridge just to set for a little bit longer before I add the rest of my berry layer to the rest of them. Now, I don't know if it's completely set yet because I technically need to wait a few more hours to fully let it set, but I want to try one anyways before my parents come over for dinner. So here we go. The Bavarian cream has such a lovely vanilla taste, and it's so airy and fluffy, but like creamy and thick. I think this would be perfect in a cake filling. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to show it some love by giving it a like or writing me a comment down below, and I will see you next time with another recipe.